creators! Let's go to the craft room and get to crafting. Alright, we're going to take 3 of these little signs from the Dollar Tree, and I wet the front of them and used some sandpaper to get all of that paper off. I didn't want any of that on there. I'm going to cut off the little hanging tags that are on there, and then I'm going to take my crocodile, and I learned from Heidi that these will cut through these little wood signs. So I am making another hole that will be straight across from the hole that was already in there where the little hanging sign was. So that way we will have one hole on each side straight across from each other. We are going to run some twine through there to attach these all together, so that's why I'm making a second hole. I do end up and go back once I get them all painted and make another hole that's actually closer to the front side of the box, because I want the wood bead that's going to be in between them closer to the front so that you can see it a little easier, if that makes sense. And like I said, I will show you that when we get to it, but I just wanted to go ahead. If you don't want to make the first hole and just do a second one, that's fine, but there will already be one where I'm placing these holes from where that hangy tag thing was. Here I'm just making a pencil mark so that I can make sure that they're pretty even, and I'm going through this part a little bit slower just so you can really see what I'm doing. And I do try to speed up as much in this video as I can because it is a longer video, so I will speed up where I can. I just wanted to make sure you could see exactly what I was doing. Also, while you're watching, if you're enjoying the video that I've made for you today, make sure to give me a thumbs up because that helps my channel, and I appreciate it so much when you guys give me a thumbs up or leave me a sweet little comment. I do read every comment, however I don't always have time to respond to all of them, but I do read them and they make me smile. They make me so happy, you guys, really. Okay, now we're ready to start painting, and we are going to use our Waverly chalk paint in the color Crimson. I love this color for Christmas DIYs. And I just went the easy way. I dumped it on and I'm just spreading it around. And now I'm going to take this bamboo skewer and I'm putting a little bit of hot glue on there just so my beads won't roll off of the end. And I'm painting my beads in the color Ink in Waverly chalk paint. And while I have that ink paint out, I'm also going to distress the little red wooden signs just to give it kind of more of a rustic farmhouse look. And I cut this decal out with my Cricut, and I went ahead and weeded it while I had a minute of drying time. And now I'm showing you where I put that second hole that was closer to the front, and I'm stringing some jute twine in through the back side of those and putting a wood bead in between each piece, and that way when we get it all done we can fold it however we want. You can set it like in a zigzag pattern or curve it around, and it's gonna be so cute. Now I'm making a little quick tassel and I'm just folding that around, and I'm gonna put the jute through the top and tie a knot, and then I'm going to wrap some jute around about an inch down from the top and tie another knot, and then I'm going to cut the ends and kind of even them off, and then we will have a cute little easy tassel. And we're going to tie it onto that little piece that we tied at the end of the wood bead, and then I'm going to cut off all the extra strings. now we're going to get our decals back out. I'm kind of wiping off any of the extra dust, and I'm trying to decide where I want to put them. For these, you could also use some poster stickers from the Dollar Tree. You could hand letter this. You could use some rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree. There's lots of options. You don't have to use, you know, a Cricut or any sort of a decal. And either way that you do it, it's still going to be super, super cute. I'm just making sure I've got these stuck down really well because I love this. This is one of my favorite Christmas DIYs that I've done, so this will definitely be staying in a yearly box with my Christmas items because I like it so much. And here, I didn't like how close to the edge it made it. It didn't look centered, so I end up scooting it over and cutting off the little tail that's hanging off the end. And that was just personal preference. You guys do whatever you feel looks best and make it your own. I want to know what you guys think about this when you see the finished product. Do you love it as much as I do? I'm so excited that you guys joined me today. I got festive for you again. I even put on a red lipstick, which, by the way, gets all over your teeth. That's why I don't wear it very often. Today's video is in collaboration with Heidi Sonboul over at Heidi Sonboul DIY, and if you haven't checked out her channel, you are missing out on such an awesome person, an awesome crafter, and she creates such budget-friendly, adorable DIYs. So today we are posting for her 10 on Tuesday series, and I'm so blessed that she asked me to do this with her. Look at all of these cute DIYs and stocking stuffer ideas that she gave you guys. Okay, for this one, I had ordered these wood slices off of Amazon. They're actually made for ornaments, but I'm going to use them in a little bit different manner. I'm going to make a really cute farmhouse garland. So I'm kind of trying to put them out and make them similar sizes. I didn't want one big one beside a little one. I wanted them kind of even. And then I'm just going to hand letter. Like I said, I wanted this to be pretty rustic. So I didn't want to use like a Cricut decal or a sticker or something like that. I wanted it to be very rustic. This is personal preference. I wanted it to go with the garland that I made in a previous video that had the burlap and the buffalo check fabric on it. So like I said, really rustic is what I was going for. That's why I hand lettered it. You would not have to do that if you don't like your hand lettering. If you wanted to use a decal, that would be fine. And then I'm going to take them once I get them lettered, and I just used an Arteza chalk marker. And I'm going to cut off a piece of twine. I'm going to fold it in half, and the part where the fold is, I'm going to stick through the hole. Then I'm going to put my fingers in that looped over part, and it'll probably be easier for you to watch what I'm doing than for me to explain it. So I'm putting that folded over part through the hole. You just kind of squeeze it and it'll go through there pretty easy. And then I'm putting my fingers through that loop and pulling the back part through the loop. And that will make it lay really flat and not want to spin as bad. I hope that makes sense. Now once I've got all of those looped on, I'm going to put 2 of my wood beads, and these I got off Amazon. I'm going to put 2 on each one. Then I'm taking a long piece of jute twine, and I measured it to my mantle, and I'm going to loop the string over the top, pull the string around each side, and tie a double knot. Like I said, I tried to slow this down and get really close so you could see what I was doing, and I left it kind of slowed down for just a minute so you could really see what I was doing. I'm putting it over the top, looping each side around, and then tying a double knot. And that keeps it hanging straight on. And you guys, look how cute this turned out. Make sure you let me know below if you like this, because this is another one of my favorites. I love it so very much. Okay, now I got this little board at Walmart in the craft section. It's already painted and distressed for you. It already has a hanger on it. I'm taking this burlap ribbon that's red, and then I'm going to use some of those letters that I got at the Dollar Tree. I did have to use 2 packages because there's only one of each letter in each package. And I'm taking this paint in shamrock colored. I thought it was a pretty Christmas green. And I'm going to paint all of the letters. Once they dry, I'm going to go back in with a white and just kind of distress them a little, because again, I wanted this to be a little rustic, because at Christmas I kind of go with a farmhouse theme. So I like everything a little bit more rustic. And that's personal preference again. You do what matches your decor. I take this little chippy brush and it distresses it perfectly. Now I'm taking this red burlap ribbon and I'm just going to glue it down on the back. Be careful not to burn your fingers. And then over the top of that, I'm going to take some ribbon that I got on Amazon. And as you can see, it's kind of burlap twine looking, but it has a cute design on it. So I'm going to layer that over the top of the red. And then over the top of that, I'm going to take some yarn that I had that is actually for crocheting or knitting, I'm not sure which, sock monkeys. And the color matched so perfect. It was like the red and white baker twine, but the white on it was a little more cream colored than the twine. The twine had like a really crisp white, and I was going for that more rustic look, so that's why I went with the yarn over the twine. But you could do whatever matches. You could use, even just jute twine would match as well. And here I'm just kind of showing you, if you wanted to go with the same theme, that's what you can look for. It was called Monkey Red. And how cute is that? And it gives it so much texture and still looks rustic and farmhouse, but pretty at the same time, if that's a thing. Okay, now I'm laying out my letters to try to see where I want them to go, if I want them to be straight or arched. And I finally go with, I'm arching the top and putting the bottom straight. Like I said, that is personal preference. You just use this as inspiration. If you want to copy it, you copy it. And if you want to make your own, you make your own. That's what makes crafting so fun. You do whatever matches your home and your personality. Here I'm rusting these bells. I found them at a flea market, but I wanted rusted bells. So I'm taking an orange and a brown, and I'm just like blotting it on there with my paintbrush, just kind of, and then over the top I'm sprinkling cinnamon, and it worked perfect. It looked amazing. Now I'm taking that same yarn that I used before and I'm spreading it out evenly and making 3 little hangers. And these strings are going to be where we're going to hang our Christmas cards. So I'm measuring out because I want my bells to hang evenly, and the bells are on there just to kind of weight down the yarn. I wanted to make sure it had a little weight at the bottom so that your cards wouldn't be flopping all over the place. So I'm kind of measuring out. The 2 on the sides I do a little bit shorter than the one in the middle. Again, personal preference. And then I'm just tying the bells on, and then I'm putting just a little tiny dot of hot glue just to lock that knot in place so that the bells won't fall off. And that way I can cut the other string really short and it's going to be locked in really well. And then once I get done with that, I get some of those little mini clothespins, and then you can put your cards all over it and display them. Let your kids hang up their cards if they got any from grandparents or friends. It's so fun! Now we're going to make a little shelf sitter or tier tray decoration. So I'm taking this little dream sign and I'm taking this embossing tool, and it's kind of fitting down in that little groove. I just needed to pry that back off because it's stapled on. So I get that off and then I dump out all of the confetti. And then I take some fingernail polish remover that has acetone in it, and I let my cotton swab sit on there just to kind of loosen it up a little bit. And then all of it takes is a little bit of elbow grease. You're just rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, and it finally comes off. So I got the scrapbook paper at Hobby Lobby. It was $1.99 because it is the foiled kind, but I really liked it. And I thought it would be cute in the background because it says Merry Christmas all over it. So we went with that. And then I'm going to take and pull out those little, they're like little brad nails actually, they're not really staples, but I didn't want those in there because I wanted to be able to glue the back on so that all of my little confettis that I put in there won't fall out. Now I'm going to take this vase filler from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take a fabric softener and just wipe it down so that there won't be a lot of static in there. And then I realized I dumped way too much in there. So now I'm picking it back out. And that looks much better. So now I'm taking one of these little Christmas trees. They were out of a foam scatter bag from Dollar Tree, and I'm cutting it in half because it's too thick to fit behind the glass in between it. And there I made a big boo-boo. There was a little fuzz on there and I blew it and my vase filler went everywhere. Now I'm taking a little bitty star that I had and I'm putting it on the top of the tree, and then I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom of the tree and glue it down to the actual frame. And now I'm putting a couple of little dots of hot glue so that my paper will stick, and then I'm making sure it looks okay. And now I'm just going around with hot glue to seal all of the edges, and I will show you up close here in just a minute. I literally just get it down in all of the little grooves so that it's really sealed, and this turns out so adorable, you guys. And the kids love it because they can shake it around and make all the little balls in there move. Okay, normally I make all my signs, but this time I cheated. I got this from Hobby Lobby. It was $14.99 back in the wood section, and I got it for half price. So it was about, what, $7.50, $8. And I cut out a stencil with my Cricut. Again, you could use stickers on this if you wanted. I had just never used this stencil vinyl, and I really wanted to try it. And I saw a really cute idea for a sign like this, and I was like, I have to have one of those. It is so cute. So we are lining up our stencil vinyl, and then we're going to squeegee it down and make sure it's stuck really well. Then I'm going to pull back my transfer tape. And I did speed this up a little. I was really careful to make sure I went slow so that I didn't pull any of the letters back and accidentally rip it. And I tried to use kind of a Ray Dunn inspired font. I thought it was cute. And then for the Rudolph, I went with a fun cursive font. Here I'm doing Rudolph in red Waverly chalk paint, and I'm just being very careful not to get it on any of the edges or any of those other letters. So just go slow when you're around the edge. And now I'm going in with ink Waverly chalk paint and filling in all of the other reindeer. While you've got a second to watch me, I'm gonna ask you guys, are you done with all of your Christmas shopping? I am getting close. I'm still not completely done, but I want to know, how much shopping do you guys have left? Alright, we're pulling up our stencil now, and I'm just being really careful. I'm kind of cutting it if it gets too out of control, and then picking out all of those little centers with my weeder tool, and I'm being careful not to gouge into the wood. And you guys, oh my goodness, is this not adorable? Ah, I can't stand it. Okay, now we're taking another one of these little Dollar Tree signs. I'm going to cut the hanger off, and then I'm going to paint all of the edges red, and then I will paint the center white. I'm just being very careful with like a little smaller paintbrush, and I'm just going around the edges. You could also tape this off if you wanted to. You know, I did have a few spots where I kind of messed up, but I just went back and touched it up. It's not too hard if you take your time. And then I'm going to finish the back of this. You don't have to do this, but I know some people, like if you're going to set it up on a tier tray or something, you want the back to look pretty. I just took some of the craft paper from Dollar Tree and Mod Podged it down. And it looks really good once you get finished with it. It looks like a piece you would buy in a store. And here I'm trying to decide if I want the hole on the bottom or if I want it on the top. So that's why I'm looking it over. And here I'm gonna take, these are just pom-poms. I got them at Hobby Lobby. And I did that, you can get them at Dollar Tree, but I wanted specific colors. And the ones at Dollar Tree come in like a mixture, and I wanted enough. And I didn't want to have to buy a whole bunch of bags, so it was just cheaper to do it this way. I'm taking some brown ones and putting them kind of as the trunk of our tree, and then I'm just gluing down the green ones into the shape of a tree. This is personal preference. I just kind of went until my eyes were happy, till it kind of looked like a tree that made me happy. So there it is when we're all done. And then I thought I'm going to put the little red ones as little ornaments. But then when I got them all laid up there, it kind of almost looked like an apple tree or something. And I was like, okay, I'm not happy with this. So we went with a naked tree. And this was a little Merry Christmas trinket. And those came in that button pouch that I had gotten at Hobby Lobby last year on clearance. And I thought, perfect. We're going to put the Merry Christmas up there. It's small enough, but still adds a little bit of something. And then I'm going to use the little star button as my tree topper. So I'm just kind of putting a little bit of hot glue on there and gluing that down. And now I'm going to go in and take these little wooden cubes from Dollar Tree and paint them green, because we are going to make them into tiny little baby packages. And they turn out so adorable. I'm taking some of the red and white baker twine, and this is what it's going to look like. And now I'm going to show you how to wrap your package. So you've already painted it. So now we're going to just kind of cut off a piece of the red and white twine. And I'm going to put a little dot of hot glue and lay the twine there so it just kind of holds it in place for me. Then I'm going to flip it over and twist it. Put a little dollop of hot glue right there as well and kind of twist it on itself. And then you can do the other two sides. And then when you get to the bottom, I tie a little knot and put a little bit of hot glue just so it helps lock it into place. And then I'm going to make a tiny little finger bow. So there I'm just kind of locking that knot in to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to let it dry for just a minute before I cut the edges off. And here's my little finger bow. I'm just going to wrap the twine around my finger, and I'm going to take a piece of this red wire that was from the floral section at Dollar Tree. And once I get it wrapped around my finger enough times, I'm going to pull it off my finger and I'm going to tie that wire around it and then twist the wire so that it kind of locks it into place. Now I'm fluffing my bow. And then I'm going to cut the wire off. There, I'm just trimming the extra strings now that my glue is dried. Cut the wire off, but not all the way up. Leave just a little bit of that twisted part on there so it keeps your bow tied. And now I'm putting a little dollop of hot glue and I'm going to glue my bow on the top. And then I'm going to fluff the bow again. Y'all, how cute is that? Now I'm going to glue all of my little packages that I just made down under my tree. And that will cover the hole that I wasn't sure where we wanted to put, because the hole is under one of the packages. Now I'm making another little finger bow. I'm just making it a little bit larger this time. And that's going to go up above the tree just as a little extra something something. You know how sometimes you're like, it just needs something extra. So this was my little something extra. And y'all, how cute is this? So simple and easy, super cheap. Your kids could even help you make this, or they could make one themselves and give it as a gift. Let's make some name tags for our stockings. Y'all, these turn out really cute too. I just don't think I can pick a favorite today. It's all of it's my favorite. Is that a thing? So here I'm taking a popsicle stick and I'm just marking where I want to cut it off because I don't want it sticking out from behind my letters. I want it kind of disguised in the back, just being the frame for our letters. So I'm cutting off just a little bit. I want it just a hair shorter than my letters are. Now I'm going to take my first letter and I'm going to put half E6000 half hot glue, and then I'm just going to push it down and hold it for a minute while that hot glue sets. And that's it. You're literally going to do that to every single Scrabble letter. And I found these Scrabble letters. You could go buy a Scrabble game to use the letters out of, but I have a flea market that's really close to my house, and they always have a ton. And they've got them alphabetically organized, so it's easy to go find what you need. And I think they charge like, I don't know, 15 or 20 cents a piece. So anytime I need them, I just go in there and pick out what I need. And these are so cute and easy. Your kids could help you make them. They could use regular school glue to glue them down. They just turn out really cute and they're cheap. And like I said, super simple, a quick DIY. You could use them as name tags on your packages. Like that would be such an adorable little touch. Here I'm showing you how long. I did 10 inches for my jute, and this is going to make our little hanger on the back. I just fold it over and then I'm going to glue down the end of the string. And these hold together really, really well. The hot glue sticks really well to that wood. And now I'm just going to make another little finger bow with my jute twine. And again, this is just kind of a, let's just zhuzh it up a little. Gonna tie that jute around that little bow we made and tie a double knot. Then I'm gonna put just a little bit of hot glue so that I can stick it down, and then I also tie it around the back side of the little hanger that we just made. And ta-da! That's it, you're done. Super simple, super quick, super easy. Anybody can do it. And looky there, Christi Creates. Okay, we're taking 4 8x10 picture frames from the Dollar Tree, and I'm taking this huge gift bag that I got at Dollar General. It was $3.50, and I'm going to dismantle it. Taking out the string, I'm going to cut off the top and the bottom, like little hem that they had or seam, and then I'm going to rip the seams with my seam ripper, and that way I've just got the piece that was on the front. I just wanted Santa. I did iron him a little to make him not so wrinkly, and now I'm taking the glass out of the picture frames and I'm tracing around them so I know exactly where I need to cut, because if you use the 8x10 frames, you don't really have much wiggle room at all. I mean, the bag is exactly the size of the 8x10 frames, so here I'm just cutting them up, and now I'm going to attach my picture frames together. I'm using this original super glue Total Tech. It's kind of like a super glue. It takes like 2 hours to dry. This stuff is amazing. It's one of my favorite glues. Then I'm also going to use a little bit of hot glue to help get that quick hold. And then I'm going to clamp them together just while that glue dries, because I want to make sure that this looks like a window pane when I'm done. So I made sure there wasn't any glue on the front side, and now I'm going in with some popsicle sticks and just helping reinforce all of those seams, because, you know, these aren't the best quality frames, so I wanted to make sure that they don't fall apart. Now I'm going in and I've got my glass all laid out there, and I'm taking some white Waverly chalk paint, and I was trying to kind of distress the edges by like using little brush strokes, and I was going to make it look kind of like a frosted window, but the brush strokes weren't working. So then I started just kind of dabbing the glue, pouncing, I don't know really what you want to call it, but that looked so much better. It did actually look like frosted windows. So I just went around all of the edges and I laid them there together so that there wasn't one spot that was like way taller than the other or anything. And now I'm taking and putting the cut piece of Santa Claus cloth and putting the back on and folding all of the edges back down. And you guys, how cute is he? Here I do tell you that I did not cut a gap at all. I just cut one seam, but if you didn't like where that is not matching up exactly, you could cut like a small inch gap out of the middle and it would meet up better, but I thought it looked fine the way it was. Again, that's just personal preference. Whatever you think. Okay, I got this little star in the wood section at Hobby Lobby. It was $1.47 and I got it 50% off, so it was like 75 cents. I got this star at Dollar General for $1 and these little pails at Walmart for 98 cents. Then I also had that wood dowel that's laying there. It was just some that I think I had from the Dollar Tree. And then I had this cone that was styrofoam and I'm going to use it. It was all the styrofoam I had at the house and I didn't want to run to the store, so it's what I used to hold that in place. And this is our Crimson Waverly chalk paint. And I'm going to paint the red star and the dowel that's attached to it. And this you could glitter, you could paint any color you wanted. You know, you could put whatever you wanted on there. I just went with red on this one, and then I leave the other one silver at the top. I do change off. It had a little bit of greenery on there, but it was very sad looking, so I changed it off. I wanted it to look a little bit nicer. So I took one of my little garland picks from Dollar Tree and a few of those pom-poms that I had, and I made them kind of look like holly berries. And then I made a little finger bow and put that at the top. And that covered, there was a hole there because this was actually an ornament. So I covered that hole with all of that I just put on there, and then I attached that dowel. Now I'm taking all different sorts of ribbon, or if you could also even use fabric strips if you wanted. But I just had a ton of this extra ribbon that there wasn't a lot left of, and you literally just cut off a big piece, tie it on, a single knot, get it really tight, and scoot it up close to the next one. And once you get them all laid on there, then you will go back and trim it up so that it is in the shape of a tree. So then you have this adorable little rag tree. I guess that's what we're gonna call it, a rag tree. But it's so cute, y'all. Look at it. So then you just kind of even it up. I did the same thing to the second one. Look how cute they are. And so rustic and farmhouse, but so simple. I mean, these took me maybe 15 minutes from start to finish. And I thought I was going to put them both in the same bucket and just make one taller than the other, but it didn't look good. So luckily I had a second one of these buckets. So I glued that one in place, and then I took my second bucket and used the extra part of that cone styrofoam and just kind of made do with what I had. And then I go back and I put some like Dollar Tree bags in there to fill it in. This is the leftover tinsel from the tinsel tree that I took apart on my last DIY video. And so I'm just reusing it. I'm just kind of using it as filler. And y'all, how cute is that? And it's just leftover stuff that I had from my last DIY. Here I'm just gluing my little bags into place to kind of fill in the space. And then I'm going to go in with that tinsel that I had left over. What do you guys think of this one? Alright, another quick and easy one. We're taking our Waverly chalk paint in ink, and I'm taking this little sign from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut off the little hanger that's on there, and I'm going to flip it over so that I don't have to deal with all of that glitter. Again, you could put some craft paper over the back to make it look more finished, but mine was going to be hanging on the wall, so I didn't mess with it. And I give it a good coat of that black chalk paint. And it only usually takes one coat of this when you're using the black. The white usually takes a couple more coats, but the black you can usually get away with one coat. Then I'm going to take some sticker decals that I found at the Target dollar spot. They were $1, and they're these adorable little stockings. And they have letters cut out in the center. You can see down there on the bottom, when you pull the letters out, it spells joy. So we're going to just stick these down. I just kind of play around with the placement and get it to where I thought it looked good. And again, you do the same thing. You do what makes your eyes happy. I didn't measure it out exactly to make sure they were even or evenly spaced. And then where I had kind of made that shiplap look, I went back in and filled in with the black paint so that it didn't look like the stockings were see-through, because you know normally stockings wouldn't be completely see-through because you've got to put stuff in them. Then I had this, it's like hemp cord. It was from Walmart and I had never used it, and I thought this would be the perfect little DIY because I want some little finger bows, which seems to be the theme for this video. And since it was colored, it matched really well, so I just made some little finger bows to make it look like that's what they were hanging from. And then I take some more of that and make a little green hanger, and then I go around the edges with the red and just kind of add a little extra. And I thought it was so cute, so simple, and like $2, you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Make sure you come back on Friday because I will have another new video out then. And I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.